Alrighty, we're gonna get started here. So thank you guys all for coming. I am Morgan Miller. I'm one of the admissions advisors here at Niagara University. I am all of your admissions advisors, and I work primarily in the Syracuse area, North Country, and then Western Massachusetts. So we wanted to do something just for the Syracuse area, just for you guys to have it be super informal, ask questions. I do have a little PowerPoint we're going to do, and then we will do a virtual tour of the dorms as well. And then we'll have a session for question and answers at the end. And please feel free to ask as much as you'd like. If you have questions sort of while we're going throughout this, feel free to put them in the chat box. And then once we open it up for question and answer at the end, you guys can feel free to unmute yourselves and we can just talk freely. So let's see here. I'm going to get started. Sorry, guys. This I have a new computer right now, and I'm not used to using it. So, all right. So as I said before, I'm one of the admissions advisors here. I also too am a two-time graduate from NU. I went here for my undergraduate degree, and then I did a 4+1, which means that you can get your master's degree in 1 year as opposed to 2. So I completed that in 2 different sectors of the university, one in the College of Hospitality and Tourism, and then I did my MBA in the College of Business. So if that's something that you guys might be thinking of future down the line, you most certainly can make that happen. So first, I know some of you guys have applied, some of you have been accepted, so congratulations to you if you have been accepted, but some of you have not fully completed your application, and that is totally fine. So just some admissions criteria. We are on the Common App, and we have our own NU application. We're on rolling admissions, so there's no major deadlines for you guys. Some of you, I am only waiting on your high school transcripts. So as soon as we get those in, then you'll be good to go. If you are a nursing applicant, we do require a nursing essay, and that's just really for you to tell us why you would like to be a nurse, why you want to get into that field. That's sort of the prompt that we have for that. And then we are test optional for all majors. So if you're sort of on the fence with submitting your scores and not, you would like to apply without your scores, that's totally fine. And if by chance you're able to take them in the spring and you would like to submit them, then you most certainly can. So just some helpful tips that we do want to share with you guys are, please reach out to me. All of you have my NU cell phone number. I called you on it today. Please text or call me if you have any questions. I want to know as much about you as possible. So really just to brag about yourself and, like I just said, ask questions. Jennifer will touch on our merit scholarships, but they are awarded based on your application and when it is evaluated when you apply. Once you guys start getting your financial aid packages, you can, if you need to or you want to know more about our appeals process, please reach out to me and we can talk more in depth about that. Also, too, I wanted to add this SOS page. So this is where we have our endowment scholarship. So I do just want to take you there very quickly and just show you this is what it will bring you to. And there are a lot of scholarships for you guys out there that we give to our accepted students. So you can search by your major, you can search by freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And this is also something I like to highlight is there are scholarships continually offered for you guys as you move throughout your years. So some of these will only be offered to juniors and seniors, but that's so you guys can still obtain some scholarship money as you go throughout your college career. So I will also too copy and paste that and put that in the chat box once I'm finished with this presentation as well. So a new thing that we sort of have rolling out is our VIP program. So as soon as you apply, you're entered into our VIP program, and we have a bunch of awards that we are giving out to our students. So if you guys haven't submitted that application button yet, try and do so you can get into our program. We do priority application reviews. So For example, I had students that just submitted their applications today, and I already reviewed them, and they will be notified before Christmas if they are accepted or not. We also are doing some vouchers and discounts within our campus store. We have book vouchers that we want to give you guys. We have a lot of giveaways that we'll do, especially over our Facebook group. So once you guys are accepted, we do have a Facebook group that we post a ton of giveaways on. We do like bingo nights and stuff that are a lot of fun. And you guys can win anything from like free apparel to things in the bookstore or book vouchers to get some money off of your books as well. This is just for you guys if you wanted to take a quick little screenshot of this. It is just our contact information for admissions. If your guidance counselor has not submitted your transcripts, they can send it to this email here. I will also put my email address in the chat box once we're finished with this, and you can also have them send me a copy as well if you would like. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer in financial aid.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining us this evening for a little bit. I'm going to give you just some brief, easy information to kind of keep in mind as you go through the financial aid application process. As Morgan said, my name is Jennifer Gary. I'm the Associate Director of Financial Aid here at Niagara. One of the next slides will have some of our contact information on there. So as you go through the process, please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And I think Morgan did mention early on, or it was on one of the slides, I think a lot of prospective students got an email about if you need some assistance, if you have not already filed the 2021-22 FAFSA form. We can either help you out over the phone, or we are doing, I believe it's through Zoom, or potentially Google Meets we can do as well, where, you know, if you think about your questions, we can set up a time to kind of talk you through the process. So keep that in mind if you have not already filed the 2021 FAFSA. But here at Niagara, we do have a nice tiered scholarship program, which is based on your academics that you'll be providing to the admissions office. So they will make the determination where in our tier you fall. You will qualify potentially for one of them, okay? Our top scholarship is our trustee scholarship of $23,000 per year for full-time studies. These are awards that are for full-time study. Should you ever be part-time, they would be prorated. Directly below our trustees is the presidential of $20,000 for the year. Our dean scholarship is $17,000. And then we have two grants that are based on academics. Our achievement grant of $15,000 and our Niagara University grant of $10,000. Admissions would notify you on the basis of your admissions application. So you would know early on where you fall in our tier of scholarships, so you know you already have that in hand. So once we receive your FAFSA form, that would be the first thing that's going to go in your package. We would then be looking at other sources of aid above and beyond one of these categories as we put together your package. The common application, whether it be here at Niagara or at other schools, in terms of applying for financial aid would be your free application for federal student aid. So the nice thing about the FAFSA is you fill it out once and you can send it to multiple schools. I think it's up to 6 or 8 at any one time. So if you are looking at a multiple schools at this point in time, at some point you will have to eliminate some in order to add your additional schools. But I think you can do about 8 schools at any one time. But you do it once, you send it to those schools. You of course do the admissions application first, because no school will do a package for you until you have applied for admissions and been accepted. So first and foremost, if you haven't done the admissions application yet, you want to finish up that process. If you haven't done the free application for federal student aid, you want to do that next. I would say ideally, the form typically opens up every year in October, but I would say the peak time that most people do the FAFSA is from Thanksgiving through the Christmas holidays. So if you haven't done it yet, I would say you're still on a good timetable. Maybe try to make it a goal to do it before the end of the year That way you will hear from your schools in plenty of time that you'll know what kind of financial aid you might qualify for there before you have to make a decision what school you're going to select. Particularly if cost is a factor, it's nice to know what you might be able to receive. So kind of keep that in mind. It did open up on October 1st. It's going to be based upon your 2019 tax information if you are a tax filer. Otherwise, there are untaxed income questions on the form as well. And the nice thing is there is a link directly to the Internal Revenue Service. So you can do one of two things. You can pull out your 2019 taxes, or when it asks you if you want to link to the Internal Revenue Service, just select that, say yes. And what it does for the taxable income questions is basically pull in whatever's out there with the Internal Revenue Service. So it's kind of nice and it works pretty well. Again, as I said, my recommendation would be if you haven't done it already, you want to try and do it before the end of the year. So maybe over the holidays, if you haven't done it, just sit down and give it a try. We are, as I mentioned, this year is sort of a, given the unique circumstances that we find ourselves in, typically most students can either historically in the past take advantage of financial aid nights at their school, or we sometimes go out to various locations or hold events on campus. And since some of that has had to be limited for the time being, we are offering through either via telephone or through one of the virtual formats that we can help you out with your FAFSA. We ask that you kind of take a look at it ahead of time, attempt to fill it out as much as you can so that you come prepared with your questions, and we can make your slotted time as beneficial and productive as possible. So that's an option for you if you haven't done your FAFSA yet, or if you think that's something you might like to do, then certainly reach out to us. This slide basically has our contact information. Again, if you're looking for something to do once you're on break from school, we have, I think, a nice selection of information on our webpage, so you can basically read all about it and learn some more information. So don't hesitate to take a look at that if you think there's something there that might help you with some of your questions. There's our phone number, our email address. We are located in the Butler Building on campus for those of you who have either already been here or hopefully maybe can come and take a visit with us in the spring. We do, we are finding new and creative ways to interact with parents and students, so I'm sure that we can accommodate that. Morgan also mentioned not so much on our web page, but yeah, if she's going to send out the link as well, if you want to pursue potentially either through Niagara, our endowed scholarship page, the scholarship opportunity search. Basically, you can put in a little criteria about yourself, and it will potentially identify some things that you might be able to apply for. I would also strongly encourage you, and again, I know things are a little bit different right now, but be working closely with your high school guidance office or counseling office, depending what they call themselves. They are often the first point of contact for any outside private scholarships from clubs and civic groups in your area, because you want to make sure that you basically throw your hand in there for as many things as you think you might qualify for. So make sure that you are, if the communication is basically via email, that please make sure you're paying attention to that and that you're responding to them, so that the application dates don't pass and you miss out on it because you didn't read an email. So again, that might be a project over the holidays. I know I intend to do it, is go through some of my email sites and basically clean things up and and address some things and get rid of a lot of things. So maybe you can do that as well. So again, I would just put it out there as you go through the process. If you have any questions for us, please don't hesitate to get a hold of us. I will mention, and maybe Morgan will at the end, the university is sort of going very shortly into a holiday pause. So if it is starting next week through the first January 1, I don't know that people will be monitoring email accounts real closely, but they will certainly get back to you. I think we return to campus on the 4th maybe, which is a Monday. So if you don't get a response real quickly, don't panic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Basically, the university is sort of going into the holiday break. So people are around sporadically for the beginning of next week, the remainder of this week, the beginning of next week. And technically the university is closed after that until January 4th. So I think that is pretty much the end of the financial aid slide. So I'll kind of leave it at that. I'm going to put out there right now, because I know there's some other things planned for you after this particular presentation, that does anyone have any questions that you wanted to ask of me now, you can certainly kind of type it in the chat box. And we'll see if we can't get an answer out to you. Otherwise, yes, certainly feel free, like I said, to either email us or reach out to Morgan, and we'll certainly get an answer to you. So I'm just going to pause for a minute and give anybody a chance if they want to ask some questions before we move on with the rest of this evening's events for you.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, anyone have any financial aid questions, if you think of some, even after Jen sort of hops off here, then that's okay. You can ask, and if I don't know the answer to them, then I'll definitely reach out to Jennifer and make sure that we get that for you. All right.
Well, if that's basically it, then I'm going to kind of, I mean, I'll be hanging on probably for another minute or two just to sort of see how things go. Then I'm going to leave this event, but I'm going to wish everybody good night and say enjoy the rest of the presentation. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, guys, so now we're just going to go into some academic life. So we do have an 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So what this means is you guys are definitely not going to totally outnumber our faculty. They are here to help you. They're here to work with you. They will all know your guys' name. They will really open up their schedules to help you out. Every professor that you have will have some office hours for you, but a lot of times professors will meet with students outside of those as well. Professors do now give out their personal cell phone numbers. We've seen professors come on campus and help students individually with their studies, whether it's for a nursing exam or whether it's for working on a project. So that's something that is definitely one of our key points that sort of separates us from other schools, especially us being the largest private school in Western New York. We really do keep things small. Here are some more quick facts for you guys. So we have around 3,500 undergrad students, which might seem like a lot, but the average class size is 19 students. So you guys don't feel like super overwhelmed. You still get this awesome university campus feel, but then like academically, you get to get really down into the nitty gritty and sort of what you're coming to school for. We are Division I for athletics. This is awesome because our games are really intense. All the students go. It's free for students to attend. We also do have club teams. So if you're somebody out there who wants to play a sport, but maybe you weren't scouted for D1, you can still play at a club level and they're as competitive. Jenna, who's on here, is one of our current students. She is on the rugby team and they have such a great time. They get to travel and people still go to the club games as well. And another thing is we do have 80+ majors. So if you're sort of on the fence and you don't really know what you want to do, that's okay. You can come in through our academic exploration program. I came in through that. And then you can sort of take some time to decide what major you'd like. If you're someone out there that might have put down a major when you applied, but you're like, I don't really know if I want to do that anymore. Well, just contact me and we can get you changed into the academic exploration program. Another thing that is really cool is sort of back to, remember when I said that I did a 4+1, I did graduate school. So if you guys are planning on wanting to go into higher ed after this, you will definitely want to participate in our undergraduate research. So a lot of times faculty will lead research. They all do their own research as it is, but then if you want to be somebody to sort of hop on and do research with them, you are more than welcome to. Or if you want to do your own research and be like, hey, professor, do you want to come hop in on my research? They will definitely do that as well. Another thing that sort of sets us apart is the 4-year graduation rate for full-time students is one of the highest in our whole Buffalo Niagara region. So what does that mean? That means that our students graduate. We don't want you guys to come here and spend 3 years with us and then be like, man, I'm not really going to do it. We'll push you, we'll help you figure it all out. If you needed to move to like online classes fully, we do that too, even before COVID happened. So you definitely will get through and get your degree while you're here at NU. And then just to wrap it up, our biggest goals for all of our students is for you guys to obtain a lot of confidence here. And confidence not only while you're here at school, but confidence that you can carry out with you once you're finished at NU. Our goal is to help you guys prepare for life after college, because once you guys stop going to college, you sort of stop going to school, and it's weird. It's super weird to stop going because you've been going your whole lives. We also want you guys to find a clarity of direction while you're on campus, and then to find your direction of where you want to go after college. What are your goals? What are your ambitions? What do you want to see yourself doing in 5-10 years? And this whole area is really heavily involved with our career services. They work with you guys and they go hand in hand with you to make sure that all 3 of these are really highlighted and that they are completed by the time you leave here, and that they're carried on with you after as well. And another thing here, being a Vincentian school and private school, we really want you to feel like you have a heightened sense of purpose. We do a ton of different services on our campus that help our campus community and the surrounding communities. And it's fun. It makes you really want to give back. It makes you want to jump in and do more. And all of the different clubs and organizations that we have here do service as well. And it just makes you feel like you're making a mark here at NU and in your overall life as well. So now I'm going to turn it over to some of our current students. And if you guys could just briefly introduce yourselves as you sort of hop on here. And they're going to give you a virtual tour of our dorm. So we do offer in-person tours that you guys can come and visit campus, but unfortunately we're still now not allowing visitors in our dorms. So we put together something that you guys can sort of see what life is like in a dorm via the internet. All right, Kelsey, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
I'll introduce myself first. My name is Kelsey, and I'm a senior math education major from Oswego, New York. So central New York, but a little bit north.
Hi guys, my name's Jenna. I am a senior nursing major, and I'm from Liverpool, New York. So I went to Liverpool High School too.
Hi, I'm Bree. I'm from Cicero, New York, and I'm a senior chemistry major here at Niagara.
Hi guys, I'm Sydney. I went to West Hill, so I'm from the Syracuse area as well, and I'm a supply chain management major.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so the 3 of us will take you through a couple different parts of the dorms. So Bree and myself are both community advisors in our freshman tower building. So Bree, do you want to start by explaining Seton and O'Shea and what options we have on campus?
Yeah, so for freshmen, there's 2 dorms, like Kelsey just said. There is Seton and O'Shea. The 2 buildings are virtually identical. The main difference that we like to point out is that Seton has triples in each of the corners on the floor. O'Shea is only doubles. And then the newest difference between the two buildings is O'Shea has our new esports lounge. So if anyone here is interested in joining our esports team, it is a D1 sport here at the school. So it's a really cool thing that started just a year or two ago, and the lounge opened just last year. So it's really cool in there. It's also, so beyond the gaming lounge in there, it is also just a lounge area for students as well, with new TVs, new seating. You can hook up your PlayStations, your Xboxes down there. You can watch Netflix, all that kind of cool stuff. So there is like a newly renovated like esports lounge area down there as well. But what we are seeing here is just the main floor lounge. Both buildings have one. They're identical in both buildings. It's again just another area for students to hang out. There's still TVs here, seating here. A lot of students like to come out here to just hang out, do homework with friends. It's a great space to hang out. There's pool tables, there's a ping pong table. There's a little kitchen set with like a microwave and a sink. There is also one of those on each floor, so you don't have to worry about all the way coming all the way down to the main floor. If you wanted to just microwave something or wash some dishes, you don't have to come all the way down to the main floor to do that. There is a little kitchen area on each floor. Though there is no stoves or anything in the building for students to use, there is a microwave available for student use. Another cool thing about the main floor is they use it to hold building programs. So Kelsey and I mentioned that we're both community advisors, which are kind of the equivalent to residence advisors at other schools. So we put on a lot of building programs for the residents in our building. So we've done anything from like Christmas programs, where last year my building, we did decorating ornaments, decorating cookies. We've done Cahoots, where there's gift cards for prizes. So they do a lot of fun events like that. We did a cereal bar last year. So we just put on a lot of events for the students in the building to kind of get to know each other. And this is kind of the area that is utilized for that. I don't know if there's anything else Kelsey or Jenna have to add about the main floor here.
I'll just pop in for a minute. You covered a lot of stuff, so there's not much left. But so there is in O'Shea Hall, right here through this little door Kelsey's pointing at, that's where the laundry room is. And then in Seton Hall is in the basement, and laundry is completely free for all of our students. So you just need your own detergent, dryer sheets, whatever. And then it's free to use. But yeah, and then your CAs are also like on your floor as well. So there's 2 CAs per floor, and they're super available to you. They do hold office hours, and someone is usually sitting at the desk down front during certain hours of the day. And so your CAs will hold floor programs as well as the building programs that they mentioned. So this is more of an opportunity for you to get to know the other people you're living with on your floor rather than just the whole entire building. But you can go to them for anything if you get locked out, if you're having any roommate difficulties, if you just need someone to talk to, your CAs will be available for you.
So yeah, this is what a typical double will look like. Like I said, O'Shea and Seton are both identical, so a double will look the same in Seton as it would in O'Shea. Everything you see that's wooden furniture comes with the room, so the desk, the chair, the little drawers under the desk, the chest of 2 drawers, the beds, and the little wardrobes in the back. The wardrobes are actually very large, so there's like a big long cabinet on the left side, so that's where I like tend to hang a lot of things. There's another area to hang clothes on like the right hand cabinet, and there's a couple drawers that you can see on the bottom as well. So they're very spacious and you can hold a lot of stuff in them, so storage is usually never an issue. Plus you have the extra set of 2 drawers as well. You can have a mini fridge. You can see they kind of have it tucked under the bed in this room that we have shown here. You can have a Keurig. The only thing you can't have in your room mainly is like a hot plate or a microwave. But like I said, you can kind of see it through the doorway here. Each floor has their own lounge area with a microwave in it. Some even have a sink in it that you can wash your dishes in, which is really nice. So you do have access to that. They just don't want you to have that kind of stuff in your room just for fire safety hazard purposes. The other cool thing is if you saw the drawers that were tucked under the desk, there is one drawer that locks. So if you bring like a gym type locker that you would use to lock like a gym locker, you can lock up that drawer. So it's really nice to keep any like passports, IDs, important information, paperwork in there, any valuables you can actually lock up when you're not in the room, as well as locking your door, but you can also keep stuff locked within your room as well, which is really nice. There is no air conditioning in these dorms, unfortunately, but really we only get hot weather the first 2 weeks of school. So I say, you know, if you have an open window, you're perfectly fine. And after that, the weather in the dorms is really, really nice. And you have heating, and there's actually new thermostats in the building, so you can control the heat a little bit in the building, which is really nice. There's free Wi-Fi throughout the whole building, so you're always able to do homework. There's an Ethernet hookup, so for anyone who like games or anything like that, you do have access to all of that in your room. There's cable as well. The only thing is you do need to bring the cable cord. So we do have the hookup for cable. You just need to bring the actual cord. That's something a lot of students, like I've noticed, like just from being a CA, like I've forgotten on move-in days to bring the actual cord to hook your TV up to the cable. And kind of like Jenna mentioned, yeah, like your CAs are on the floor. There's 2 on every floor. We're just here to be a resource for you guys, you know, even just beyond the major issues, whether it's like a roommate conflict or something like that. We're here for like little things too. Like I've helped some of my residents put together their schedule, or I've had students who are similar major, so they've come to me for help with their classes. Like we're really just here to be a resource for you if we're around, and we try to be around as much as possible because we love our job and this is what we do. But yeah, Jenna and Kelsey, if you have anything else to add about the dorms.
Yeah, so another thing that a lot of students are usually concerned about when you move on campus is having a roommate and living with someone, and kind of finding that person you're going to be with. So here at Niagara, we have 3 different ways you can find a roommate and or like pick someone to live with. So the first option is if you know someone maybe from your high school or a friend that you know is also going here and you guys choose to room together. Also, every freshman, once you get accepted, you get added to a freshman entry class Facebook page. And it's kind of like a resource for counselors to reach out and for students to get to know each other. So if you meet someone on there, or even if you meet someone at summer orientation and you want to choose to live with them, you can request them as a roommate. And then, so finally, I like to call it, this is like our super intensive questionnaire. So they'll ask you questions about everything under the sun. Do you like to sleep with the TV on? Do you like having the fan on? Are you messy? Are you clean? Like all those types of things. Even if you want to live with someone of the same major as you. And then our counselors will actually sit and pair you guys up based on your answers to these questions. So it kind of finds someone that fits your personality and your style of living the best to create a really nice roommate situation.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So now we are going to sort of open it up for any questions that you guys have. You can feel free to unmute yourselves and we can just chat. If you don't have any, or if you don't have time to stay on, then I just want to say thank you guys very much for joining us. If you want to ask like if any status updates on your application, I'm here for that. But these current students are also here to be like a guide for you guys to answer any questions. So please ask. And as well, if you guys want to come and see the campus, we are doing in-person visits as well. And I can send the link to that too. So does anyone have any questions? Come on, guys. Somebody must have something.
So my name's Akaya. I got a question. So I recently took the SAT. When I submitted my application, I didn't put it because I just wasn't confident enough for my SAT score. But like my SAT score was 1,010. I just want to know your guys' opinion on whether or not I should submit it or not, because I know when I talked to Morgan before, it was needed for the scholarship, I guess, if that still like applies now. So what are you guys' opinions on that?
Yeah, so what we can do is I can put a merit scholarship together based on your high school GPA once we receive your transcript, and I can actually tell you if it would be more beneficial for you to submit your scores versus not submitting them. I can see both ways, and then we can just go from there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Of course. All right, we got another question. Do most students bring a mini fridge, or is that provided? Also, would we have to add ourselves to the Facebook page? So I'll answer the second part, and then my current students, if you guys would like to take over, maybe Sydney, you can answer the first part. So with the Facebook page, you guys can add yourself. We have to like allow you in. So it's not for any parents or teachers or anything like that. It's only for students. We're really, really strict on that because, okay, we know your parents sometimes like to be like all up in your business, but they don't need to be. So we like to just have it for our students, and because we also like to do giveaways for you guys too. So I know sometimes I get asked like, well, what if I don't have a Facebook? I've had my students in the past literally only make a Facebook just to join this and then delete it afterwards. But we do a lot of stuff in there. We do a lot of updates in there too, especially last year since everything was virtual. We were posting a lot in there too. So that's definitely something you guys will want to join. And then Sydney, do you want to talk a little bit about like mini fridge and maybe about some other stuff that you might have brought as a student?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. So for the mini fridge, I personally brought one and I shared it with my roommate. Honestly, it worked for the both of us. I had that, and then she brought our TV that we split. The same thing, like she brought a rug, and then I brought like a TV stand for it. We kind of try to split everything as much as we could. I mean, technically you don't really need one, but I would recommend one, at least to share between you and your roommate, or if you have two other roommates as well, if you're in a triple and Seton. But overall, I absolutely overpacked my first semester. So I would just be cautious on that, especially since you are from the Syracuse area. I mean, you really only are 2.5 hours away or so. Great distance. I love how close we are at the same time. I would recommend talking to me.
Oh, sorry, I was literally just talking and I was muted. Jenna or Bree, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add to what Sydney said about like stuff that you guys bring, or even Kelsey too? No.
Oh, sorry. Someone just asked another question too that I saw. And they asked what the bathrooms and showers were like. So in the two freshman dorms that we have, they're like made the same in both of them. So there's 2 bathrooms on each floor of the residence halls, and on each one has 4 showers, 5 toilet stalls, and then 10 sinks and mirrors in there. So it is super spacious, and that's on each side. So if your floor is completely full, you're only sharing that with a max of 30 other students. So, I mean, personally, I lived in Seton for 2 years and I never had to wait to take a shower, go to the bathroom or anything. And if for any case yours is full or anything like that, you can always go to the other side. And those pre-COVID got cleaned every single day, once daily. Now with COVID, they get cleaned multiple times a day, deep cleaned, and then they get sanitized almost every hour now. So they're constantly in there cleaning, making sure everyone's staying safe.
Awesome. Thanks, Jenna. So we had another question. What are things that you guys would recommend bringing if you are an overpacker? I would say a coffee maker if you are into coffee, and a mini fridge. That was something that I brought that I used every day. What about you guys? Anything else?
This is kind of like just a general one. Like this is maybe what not to buy, like when you're looking for stuff for your dorm rooms. Like I bought a ton of like organizers and different stuff like that for like wardrobes, like hanging organizers and stuff like that. And like Well, they can be good. I didn't really end up using mine too much. Like I feel like it almost made my like wardrobe feel more cluttered and there wasn't as much room to like hang stuff when I brought like organizers and stuff like that. So like maybe get ones that like go over the door, or just use like command hooks to hang like coats and stuff like that instead of getting like hanging organizers and different stuff like that. Or like a shoe rack was really good. Instead of getting like a hanging shoe rack, just get like one that stands on the floor from Walmart for like $7. Like I feel like that's more space effective than getting like a hanging one that just takes up extra space in like your wardrobe or somewhere on your wall or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And seeing as how between Jenna, Bree, and I, we've done move-in 4 years over, I found it's easier to pack less decorations like the first time you move in, and then give it a couple days or a week or so and see how you're feeling about it. Whether or not you're bringing a car, you can bring a car. We also have the shuttle. There's also, depending on the school year, a week or 2 weeks in that Labor Day weekend. And so that's a really good time to like go back and reassess like, oh, I only bought 1 pack of pencils and I've already lost half of them. Like I need to go get another one. Or even things to like the shoe rack that Bree was talking about, or wall decorations. Bring a little bit less the first time you move in. And then after a week or two, you can always go get more. Target is like 8 minutes down the road. So it's definitely not like we're in a desert where you can't buy anything.
Thanks, guys. Does anyone else have any questions about anything? I know sometimes we get asked questions about it. The gym, we do have a gym on campus that you guys can use. It's available to all students. You don't have to pay for it. You also can have a car on our campus as a freshman. We always get asked that too. Do any of you guys, current students, want to touch on the food a little bit? We always get asked about the food. I can see some of you guys shaking your head that you want to know some more. Anyone want to go? Any takers?
I can go. So we do have 2 main dining options on campus. So the first is going to be the dining commons, which is what you typically think of a college dining hall. You swipe your card, you get as much as you want, you come back later, you swipe your card again. And then we also have a food court style that operates with a campus debit card type system. We call it Galley Gold. And so once you are accepted and deposited after some orientation, that's when you decide what meal plan you want. So it's by no means something to worry about now. But you get a certain amount of food, either swipes or dining dollars in either location. And so the dining commons will open at 7:30 in the morning, and then food will run at the dining commons until 10 p.m., sometimes later, depending on the night of the week. But something will be open in the food court during the week until midnight. So you've got plenty of options if you're up late studying or hanging out with friends or going to a hockey game or whatever. And then in a traditional year, we also use Anchor Bar, which is a well-known chicken wing restaurant in Buffalo. They bring a food truck that's here Friday and Saturday from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So you've got plenty of options through the morning hours and the evening hours. And then they post all of their menus online. So once we start back up in the spring, you guys could even check if you're interested, like, oh, I'm narrowing down schools. Let's see what they're serving this week for just like a typical, they're not trying to put a show on for us. Like this is what they eat every single week. And then that also helps us current students because I can check, for lunch if the dining commons is serving something I really want, or if the food court has a $5 special at our Moe's / Chipotle like restaurant. And I really would rather have a quesadilla. So those are things that we can also check to help conserve our dining dollars and make them go farther in each location.
Cool, thanks. Also, I'll put my own 2 cents in. So when I went to school there, the food was good, but it is way better now because they did a whole revamp of the dining commons and it is just awesome. They have like brick oven pizzas, pasta available all the time. Like it's so cool. So, and I'm a really picky eater, so it was really nice. We also do have a gluten-free section if anyone out there is gluten-free. So just so you know about that too. So we have another question. Wow, this is awesome, guys. Honestly, like I'm giving you guys the best group because I have to like pull teeth to get questions. So this is great. We asked somebody asked, what are some jobs offered on campus? So My friends here that so graciously volunteered to be on this all have some jobs. So would you guys like to talk about them?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways you can have a job on campus. So depending on when you apply for your FAFSA, there's an option in there to also apply for a work study position. So work study is actually aid given to you from the school. So if you get one of that, get approved for a work study, part of your money that you earn while working will go directly to your tuition and part will go into your pocket. And you as an individual can decide what that ratio is. But if you don't apply for work study or you choose not to do a work study, a few options you have for non-work study jobs on campus include being a CA, like Bree and Kelsey. You could also apply to be a tour guide and give tours of campus. And there's also opportunities to become a tutor in our Academic Success Center on campus. After you've taken a course here at Niagara, you can then apply to tutor it if you got, I think, above a B or a B+ in the class. And these are all ways you can make money while being on campus. There's also opportunities to apply for jobs for METS, which is actually the service that does all of the food on campus. So they run the dining hall and they run the food court style area as well. And then I did see, are you allowed to work off campus? So yes, as a student, it is completely up to you if you want to get a job off campus as well. The fashion outlets are only 10 minutes away, as well as Walmart and Wegmans. So if you're interested in any of those positions, they're right there. Yeah.
Thank you. We have another question. Was working and doing your guys' studies hard to manage? Brie or Kelsey or Sydney, do you guys want to answer that?
Yeah, I can touch on that a little bit. So I am a tutor on campus and I started my sophomore year. And at first it was a little bit difficult to manage, but I would recommend it absolutely because I started tutoring in my own studies area in like the business school. And it absolutely helped me in other classes, going over the material that I needed for some of my classes I was currently taking. It's nice too, because the minimum hours you work is 2 hours a week. And then you can work even more if you want to have more students. But overall, I mean, you'll be able to manage it and you kind of learn with time, but it's definitely a great opportunity.
Awesome, thank you. Kelsey, you want to touch on it too?
Yeah, just to add to what Sydney said, different jobs on campus and off campus will work better for different majors. So it's important to know like what times your classes are. So my junior year, most of my classes were 4 to 7 p.m., whereas Jenna might have classes in the morning. So jobs that would work for Jenna will be different than jobs that will work for me. So I think any major can have a job. It's just going to depend on what time and what style it is.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions or anything you'd like to pick the brains of these wonderful ladies about? All right, well, thank you guys very much for attending. Oh, study abroad programs, yes. Okay, anyone want to touch on that? Because I can talk for days about that, but would you guys like to or no? All right, I'll talk. So we have a bunch of study abroad options for you guys. Even if you think, oh, my major won't allow it, it will. So you will get your own academic advisor. Once you're sort of like done with me in admissions, I'll pass you over to your academic advisor. They work with you. They help you with all your classes, planning the semester ahead, setting those all up. That is the person you would talk to about studying abroad. So we have options where you guys can go for a semester, you can go for over the summer, you can go for a whole year, or we also offer classes here at NU that you can take in the spring semester. And then that semester goes from January to May. And then after the semester is over, you guys go abroad for 2 weeks with the whole class and with your professors. So let's say you are a nursing major like Jenna, but you still want to have a binational experience, but you don't want to go away for a whole semester. You could take like a communication studies class as a free elective that goes abroad, and you can still get that experience but not be gone for as long. if you guys did want to go for a whole semester, that's totally cool too. We've had students go all over the world, Ireland, England, Australia. One of my best friends went to Australia, France, Germany, Spain, Italy. I mean, you name it, we've had students go. So if there's somewhere you want to go, we can definitely make that happen. Let's see, we had another question. What about sports? How often are sports? So Jenna, this might be a good one for you. She intends to be a nursing major, but loves to play volleyball and is nervous on how well you can balance that because the workload can be heavy sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to sports, so I play club rugby here at Niagara. I'm assuming you mean the club level just because it seems like you would want to add it on. Like everything, every major that you're going to have, it all requires a certain amount of like time management and you prioritizing what's important. When it comes to sports, like you would meet maybe 2 to 3 times a week, possibly games on Saturdays. Right now, because of COVID, everything's kind of been up in the air with what's going on. We were allowed to meet for maybe like the first 2 months of school, and even then it was very distance practices, and we had no games or anything. But that being said, it is very manageable. Like a lot of students, when you go to college, I don't think you realize how much time you're really going to have because you're used to sitting in the classroom for 8 hours a day. When you come to school, you may have like maybe 4 hours of classes total, and a lot of your class time, like a lot of your work that you do is actually spent outside of class. So you have more free time than you think to actually rearrange your schedule and fit in extracurriculars that you want. It is a lot of studying and it is hard, but when it really comes down to it, if you just prioritize what you want and like make yourself a schedule, it is completely manageable. I have jobs also as well that I do on top of it. And like, there's some weeks where it's like, oh, maybe I won't go to practice today. And they understand that because, you know, it is a club sport. It's not like you're playing Division I and you're on a scholarship. Everyone's there just to have fun and to play a sport together. So.
Thank you. Hannah, I'm sorry I didn't answer your question fully. So to answer the rest of your question, we actually work through St. John's University, so you don't pay extra tuition to go abroad. We really work hard to keep it the same and to keep the tuition around the same area. You can go very often. We have had students go 3-4 times abroad. We've had them do a lot of different areas of study. Sometimes they'll go for a semester like sophomore year, and they'll go for a summer in between junior and senior year, and then senior year they'll do the 2-week program. So you definitely, if that's something that you're really passionate about, like I said, you sit down with your admission or with your academic advisor and you just talk through those plans. We have another question. What is the situation with living on campus in the dorms right now due to COVID? So Bree, do you want to touch on this?
Yeah, sure. It's very similar to how it has been in the past. I'd say the biggest difference right now is that you can't have guests in the dorms, which is why we can't give tours of the dorms right now. So students who live on campus and commuters this year were able to all hang out in the dorms, that kind of situation. Like, so if you're a commuter, a student here, you were able to be in the dorms, so hang out with your friends. Like the biggest difference was just that you couldn't have family besides when a family member was moving you in. Other than move-in day, like you could not have any family visit your room. You could not have any friends from other schools visit you in the dorms. So that's like the big difference, is no visitors outside of any students who go to NU, whether it be resident students or commuters. The biggest thing for like me as like a CA was that our programs looked a little different this year. We did a lot of virtual floor programs and building programs for our residents, but we were able to do some in-person with like social distancing. We did like a trick or treat on all the floors this year. So we still worked to do programs that were in person. So overall, it looked very similar. The biggest difference was really that you just couldn't have guests in the dorms, and they did offer for anyone who was worried about COVID and didn't feel comfortable living with someone, they did offer single rooms at a double rate. So you had to pay extra if you want a single. that is not the case. This was not the case this year with COVID. So anyone who wasn't comfortable living with a roommate due to COVID, you were able to get your own room at no extra cost. So that was another difference too, as well as to accommodate anyone who did have COVID worries or was at a significant health risk due to COVID. You were able to get your own space, which was really nice. And I just saw the question about classes being online right now. No, actually, we made it through pretty much the whole semester in person, which was really cool. It was just all our finals were online. So at Thanksgiving, we all went home and we took all our finals online, and we won't be back until the end of January when we start the spring semester. So we had a pretty good semester. We did have a little bit of like a cool down period towards the end of the semester after Halloween. That just meant we didn't have any in-person like activities, but all classes were still in person. So we had a really good semester. Some classes were online though. That's not to say all classes were in person, but a lot of professors prefer the in-person versus the online option. So a lot of professors did hold in-person classes, and in-person classes were a possibility for a lot of classes, especially with like labs. That was good to hear. So nursing, science labs were all in person, which was really great. But there were some online classes as well for students who did maybe want to opt for an online option for classes because they didn't feel comfortable meeting in person.
Thank you so much. You guys, these questions are amazing. Does anybody else have anything else that you can maybe think of? We're obviously hoping that like the world gets somewhat back to normal, so you guys, when you go to college, can have a normal experience. But also too, if you ever did feel uncomfortable or you wanted to do your classes online, you can do that too. I know Jenna last semester had all of her classes online, where some students did have some in person in that as well. All right, well, I don't want to keep you guys on here much longer. If you have additional questions and you'd like to stay on after, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for my students for helping me. You guys are awesome. And I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season. You guys all stay safe and your families stay safe and healthy. And hopefully we can see you on campus soon. All right. Have a nice rest of your night, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thanks, guys. You rock. Does anyone need anything from me? You don't need me to sign any sheets or nothing? You're good? Okay. Thank you. And if I don't see you guys, have a great holiday season.
Yeah, have a good holiday.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks again.